Right, welcome back to a brand new video of the targeted individual program, targeted experience. So again, I'm about to expose what it is that they do. They constantly do this, but okay, it was interrupted. I'm gonna show you guys how they engage in manipulation, cognitive warfare, neurocognitive warfare, and how the use of remote neural monitoring, illegal microchipping, as well as in-home surveillance, monitoring your electronic devices to manipulate you or to try to manipulate you. But if you don't know what's going on, they will manipulate you. Okay, so it isn't they're trying to; they are manipulating and they will manipulate you. So, I made a post on Facebook, um, and I can't do it right now because I'm not using the screen recording software. But I responded to a post on Facebook. You hear the siren, the noise. Not siren, but the alarm. It's what they will do. So it was a post on the group, the Disciples of Diab, right? And this person posted a picture, South Egypt, and it says ancient South Egypt look exactly like modern South Egypt, and they show a picture of the young king Tutankhamun and his grandmother Queen Tai, all right, who they call King Tut, right, and his grandmother Queen Tai or Queen Taiki or whatever however they pronounce it, whatever you pronounce it. I pronounce her as Queen Tai. So I posted a picture from one of my YouTube friends who does these illustrations, right? And it says statue reconstruction of the head of a man from the Old Kingdom, ancient Kemet, Egypt, circa 2025 to 2460 BC. And then underneath it, there is a black and white picture of young Egyptians. And I'm guessing this is probably in the early 19th century. These two young black boys, right, with their hair braided. Okay, and here's the thing, right? A lot of people don't quite understand the truth about ancient Kemet because ancient Kemet has been written out of the history books. So instead of using the proper term, they use ancient Egypt. Now we know ancient Egypt is only referring to the Greek period in which Alexander the Greek invaded Kemet and renamed Kemet Egypt, and then followed by the Romans, who kept the name Egypt, and so forth. But they don't want to talk about ancient Kemet. So they will use ancient Egypt, even going back to the pre-dynastic period. They'll say pre-dynastic ancient Egypt, when it's not. Okay, the land was called ancient Kemet. All right, or Akubulan. That is the ancient name of Africa, also. Right, and as well as Ethiopia. Ethiopia is at one point used to, particularly before the Greeks invaded. Herodotus talks about Ethiopia being all of Africa, and so forth. Now, again, these things are easily researched, right? But the Arabs and the white supremacists, the Arabs and white supremacists have engaged in disingenuous lies, okay, covering up the truth, right, because of white supremacy and Arab supremacy. And so this person did the laughing emoji, okay. The name Enya Fasi, right? ENYAFAYCE. So it is very, very, how they will use people, right? And I talk about infiltrators. So this is what you do, and this is what they do. And it's all pertaining to today because Pam is supposed to be coming back today, even though she lied to me and she told me that she'd come back on the 19th. And I spoke to her earlier and I asked her again. I said, when you come back in? She's like, tomorrow on the 19th, right? I was like, okay, what have you. So this was the reason why they were using the helicopters earlier. I was talking about this, right? Whenever There's a heavy targeting with the police. If they can't use the police, they use the helicopters and other forms of targeting that they'll do in a very extreme way, right? And so, I'm like, okay, I mean, I don't see what's so funny about that, right? But, some people will do what they want to do. So I clicked on this person page. It says, I love my trans kid. Okay. Again, getting people to, uh, you know, not understanding what's going on and how their children are being influenced, how their children are being manipulated into believing that they're other than the person who they are. Now, that's not to say that there are some people who are born, that way, right? Who are gay or what have you, such. But a lot of times, again, you can look at the studies that Sweden is doing, being able to recognize what is called social contagion, meaning that there are online personalities who are trans, who are going into groups with kids and stuff like that, even online video games, Roblox and stuff like that, manipulating young people, young children, into believing that they are in the wrong body. Okay, and it's real. Okay, it's real. Go look at the studies that Switzerland is doing. All right, Sweden, that what it is that they're doing. Okay. Then on top of that, let's talk about the new medical facilities, manufacturing facilities that are now creating medical tools for what gender reassignment surgery. So anyways, I was helping my daughter do her homework package, and I'm looking for her, her folder that I have, printed out examples of work to do multiplication table, stuff like that. So of course they know all of this stuff, right? And again, I want you to understand how deep these people are in terms of manipulation, in terms of surveillance, violating your privacy, violating the privacy of your children. Anybody that you're around, they violate their privacy. Okay, in a concentrated form, because you're a TI, you're targeted, right? So I go and I'm thinking to myself, I'm looking for the folder. I can't find the folder, right? So I go onto my computer, which I know I have downloaded a lot of these, these forms. I get them from, there's the websites that give examples of math subjects, reading, anything science, what have you, anything to do with school, that you can download them, right, and have your child or your children practice, right? Just like writing and stuff like that. So I've always been doing that. Okay, and so I'm looking in my folder. I go to my my download folder. Can't find it. Okay, I'm like, okay, I know I have the multiplication. I've downloaded multiplication sheets, and just to have my daughter, do some studying in terms of a multiplication table, right? Can find this. So I go into my documents, because the only two places there will be in the download folder or in the documents folder. So I go in the documents folder, and of course, I was doing some research, and of course, so I have a document here, PDF document. It talks about U.S. sex reassignment surgery market size. Okay, and so like, again, we're talking about people who have expertise, psychologists, what have you, behavioral scientists, and they know how to manipulate you because they know exactly what it is you're going to do, how you think, right? Because they heard me say to my daughter, I got to find that folder, because I mentioned it to her yesterday. And I was like, where's that folder that have all those printouts that I had on it? Okay, so of course, right? So they know that, they probably know where it is, again, because they're surveillance within the home. Maybe Pam moved it. I usually either put them on the ottoman or inside the ottomans, but they're not there. So like I said, so of course they know this. All right, again, what is called mystical manipulation, using technology. Talk about this, right? You look at the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain, who's using technology against people who are very ignorant of technology and don't know about technology. Okay, and this is what they do to us as black people, because we are believers. We are believers. We don't know a lot about technology. We can use our phones and whatever, but we don't know what goes into our phones, how it operates, the radio wave, microwave frequencies, and also what are the harms of being exposed to these things 24/7, particularly with our children. Particularly, I keep telling I keep saying for people, it doesn't matter what color you are, what ethnicity you are, children under 12 years old should not be having a cell phone. Should not be having a cell phone at all. Okay? This is what I need you guys to understand. Stop buying your children cell phones, particularly under the age of 12. When you go and you look at the research on parents who give children being exposed to the radio microwave frequency within the cell phone, it causes, you hear the sirens? Yeah. Because then I'm talking about the truth, right? The corporations are protecting their interests, and they're throwing us and our children under the bus. Okay? That's what they're doing. And these criminals within law enforcement are working for corporations. They're not working for you and I. Okay? But anyhow, so let me show you guys. Hold on here. All right. So when I talk about how they're very crafty and very slick. Hold on, let me get my mouse. They're very crafty and very slick in what they do, and having us under surveillance. And again, I'm exposing their shit so that they can never manipulate you anymore. Once you get to understand what it is that they're doing, they can never try to make you feel like this is what they call, make you feel some type of connection with some godly supernatural force, because it's not true. It is not true. It is them manipulating you. It is them manipulating me and everybody around us, right? And the more people find out the truth, is the less and less they believe in religion. All right, remember, religion is a multi-billion-dollar industry, okay? So anyhow, so this is, again, and it's usually women that this nonsense, right? So this is her. It goes, I love my trans kids. Right, now I'm going to show you guys, as I was looking for my printouts, right? So what do you do? A lot of research. It says here, U.S. sex reassignment surgery market size, right there. I know the screen's a little messed up there. The size, right? I went into my document folder and I scroll down. As soon as I saw this, they started doing the sirens. Okay, now all at the time which it was downloaded, right? 9/20/2024 at 4:32 p.m. So why is that important? So Pam had called me. It wasn't yesterday, it was the day before. I can't even remember. And she was like, "Oh, my friends were saying that they were hearing me talking at night, and that look at this. Did you guys just start noticing this? Look, again, how they manipulate shit. All right. So anyway, see, now I got a little dot on my nose there, which wasn't there before. But let me do this so I can hold on now. Yeah, I want to show you guys in real time what it is that they do. And like I said, I'm glad I'm able to show this stuff, right? So yeah. So as soon as I saw this, right, they started using the sirens. And I'm saying to myself, okay, this is, but again, like I said, I'm used to this stuff, right? So this is nothing new. And this is me exposing them and what it is that they do, because this is what they'll continue to do. And you hear the sirens in the background. You hear the sirens, the fire trucks, because I'm exposing them, and I'm exposing them in the right way to make you guys understand exactly what it is that they do. This is cognitive warfare, how they manipulate your online activities, how they have you under surveillance. Not only that, but how they microchip you, so it doesn't matter what you look at, they see what you see. If you forget something, they know exactly where it is. Okay, and so they engage in this stuff. This is stuff that is pre-planned, right? It is pre-planned. I may not know about it, she may not know about it, but they know about it, right? And they do things. And some things that she may know about it, because again, they manipulate her. That's like an example of her like lying to me that she's coming back tomorrow. She's actually coming back today. Okay. So anyhow, you get your friends are using their sirens. Okay, because when you start to uncover the truth, the one thing they don't like is truth, and the one thing they will try to make you become is a liar, just like how they are liars, right? So they fear truth, right? Just like in these posts with these Arab liars talking about ancient Egypt not being black, when you have Count Vonne, C.F. Vonne, right, who was a count in the Napoleon army, writing in his memoir. It's called the Ruins. Right. This is what it's called. It's called. Let me give you the exact name so you can guys go get the book. Okay. It's called The Ruins: A Meditation of the Revolution of Empires and the Laws of Nature by Count C.F. Varney. So here was a count in the Napoleon army when they went into Egypt, okay, and started to do what? They started to excavate the temples, the pyramids, the Sphinx, because all of it was buried under the sand. And remember, they went into Egypt in the 1700s, right? The Arabs conquered Egypt in the 7th century, right? So for over 1,000 years, well, almost 1,000 years, what did they do? Well, 1,000 years. They left these monuments, the pyramids. They didn't try to renovate, restore anything because it's not their culture. This is a land that they conquered, right? It was not their culture. So there was no interest in preserving anything. They robbed, they stole, they, sold it for money. And it wasn't until the British and the French came in, took Egypt from the Arabs, and then museums started paying for these things. Then all of a sudden now, when Egypt gained its independence, all of a sudden there's this big thing on the pyramids and the temples and the mummies and all this stuff. This is just driven by what? By money, by profit. Okay, but they know who the real people were that occupied that land, that built that civilization. And again, I just want to show you guys to let you guys see, as a matter of fact, listen, like I said, I don't say these things just to say these things. Okay, I don't do that. All right, and this is why, like I said, we are here. Those of us who are here to speak the truth, to expose the lie, and we're going to do that. And they're going to be those who are going to want to prevent us from doing that. Why? Because it basically shatter their lies. Okay, it shatters their lies, right? The truth will shatter their lies. So they're mad at the truth. They're angry at the truth because they don't want us to know the truth, right? And anybody that don't want you to know the truth is not someone that have your best interest. Okay, understand that. Anybody or any government or any organization that don't want you to know the truth does not have your best interest at heart. Okay. All right. I'm trying to find. There you go. Here it is. Found it. Anyhow, so this is the book. It's called The Ruins, or Meditation of the Age of the Empire. A meditation on the revolutions of empires and the laws of nature, by C.F. Varney. Okay. Now, here, I want you guys to read this. And I'll go somewhere. You guys may not be able to read it, but where it says publisher's preface, if you go to the website gutenberg.org or just Google the name, you will find this book available online for free. All right, a voluminous note in which standard authorities are cited seems to prove that this statement is substantially correct, and that we are in reality in debt to the ancient Ethiopians, to the fervid imagination of the persecuted and despised Negro, for the various religious system now so highly revered by the different branches of both the Semitic and Aryan races. This fact, which is so frequently referred to in Mr. Varney's writing, may perhaps solve the question as to the origin of our religion, and may even suggest a solution to the secret, listen to this, to the secret long concealed beneath the flat nose. Now, how does he know that the Sphinx had a flat nose? Okay, beneath the flat nose, thick lips, and Negro features of the Egyptian Sphinx, right? So how does he know that the Sphinx had a flat nose and thick lips and Negro features? It's because he was there. He was there. Right? He was there. He was with the French army when they went into Egypt. Okay? Now let me just continue. It may also confirm the statement of Diodorus This was a Greek historian, that the Ethiopians conceived themselves as the inventors of divine worship, of festival and solemn assemblies, of sacrifices, and of every other religious practices. That an imaginative and superstitious race of black men should have invented and founded, in the dim obscurity of past ages, a system of religious belief that enthralls the minds and clouds the intellects of the leading representative of modern theology. So again, this is what he's telling you. This is again, and if you read this, if I scroll down, which I don't want to make this video too long. Again, I want you to understand how jealous these people are of black people. How they don't, what they have done to us is a crime against us as human beings. Okay, and they are afraid. They are afraid that black people will understand the truth. Black people will come into the reality, to the consciousness of who they are. Okay, right, and do to them what they've done to us. Right, but that is not who we are. And I keep saying, our history shows it. We're the one that taught the world. We're the one that educated the world. We're the one that brought civilization to every group of people on this planet. Right? We've always welcomed people in. But what they have done, particularly the Caucasian and the Arabs, is that because of the white supremacist mindset, they have sought to erase our memory, confine us to a very simple-minded people who are just believers, even though we keep showing that we are some of the smartest people, some of the most inventive people, creative people, and they can never take that, no matter how hard they try. But what they are doing, particularly in today's modern society, and what people don't understand, again, cognitive warfare, which they have waged against black people for decades, and we need to understand that. But anyway, back to what I was saying. I just had to do a little side note there just to put things into context, right? But as a TI, getting to understand the truth. They don't want us to learn about this technology, the psychological manipulation tactics and method that they use. It's the same thing. The same thing. Keeping us away from education, knowledge, because knowledge is their greatest threat. The truth is their greatest threat. Okay? So, anyhow, and I was talking about the, I'm just trying to get back to what I was saying, right? So I was doing a research, particularly when it comes to the transhumanist agenda, right? Because the whole transgender thing is based off of the transhumanist agenda, right? The person that started this whole transhumanist agenda thing is a homosexual, right? Who himself is a transgender or transsexual, then became transgender, right? But anyway, but it shows you, this document shows you, right? I'm gonna give you guys the name of it. It's called the U.S. Sex Reassignment Surgery Market Size, Share, and Trend Analysis Report by Gender Transition, Female to Male, Male to Female, by Procedure, Mastectomy, Vaginoplasty, Scrotoplasty, Hysterectomy, and Phalloplasty, right? So it shows you how this market is growing. This market is growing. And to tell you in the billions how much it's worth. The U.S. sex reassignment surgery market, sized by Procedure, this is what they're doing, right? It says 2020 to 2030 in the USD in the billions. Okay. All right. So we're talking about from 2020 to 2030 there'll be an 11.2% increase. Okay. Which is going to be around 220 to 230 billion dollars. All right. I've said report. Let me just say. All right. So it says right here, right? It says the 2021 annual report, the Mount Sinai Center for Transgender Medicine and Surgery indicate approximately 41.7 to 25.8% of the trans female population age 25 to 34 and age 15 to 24 respectively underwent sexual reassignment surgery. Right? That's a lot. That is huge. All right, that is huge. Okay, so we're talking about a multi-billion-dollar industry that has popped up within the past 2 decades, and within the next decade, they're about. Look at this. It says transgender transition insight based on gender transition. The market is segmented into male to female, female to male, right? It says the FTM, the female to male segment, dominated the market with the largest revenue share. So more females are getting surgery to become males, right? Physically, to look physically like males, I should say, right? Not become males. Because if you're a female, you can never become a male. You can look like a male, but you can never become a male, right? So they have the largest revenue shares of 59.81% in 2022, right? But they're not telling you that, right? They're only showing you the male to female reassignment surgery, right? Meanwhile, the largest group of people within the gay, transgender, whatever sector that is having surgery to change from physically look like another gender, right, are women. Okay? So when I talk about the whole okey doke shit, particularly when I talk about the mindset, particularly of black women, how they become so masculine, right? This is why black women are the number 2 in terms of identifying as bisexual, lesbian, and transgender. There's a reason. So they hide these things from us. But lo and behold, like I said, the ancestors are within me, have awoken me, as well as the good people around me, the good people who I don't even know, who are watching my videos, who are trying to understand what's going on, who have helped me in many ways that I will never understand, I never know. I thank you, right? So I got to thank all these people, not just the ancestors that reside within me, okay, to speak the truth about these things, right? So, like I said, whenever they do this, they're only going to shoot themselves in the foot many times over. Many times over, because like I said, it is my purpose to expose them for who they are and what it is that they're doing. So no, you're not going to try to, well, this is what they do. So every time they continuously try to use mystical manipulation to try to make me believe that it's an act of God. And it's not, okay? But when you do this to a person every single day, eventually they figure, hey, I'll stop believing that it's God. Listen, I will never believe that it's God. Okay, I know it is evil men and women, wicked people who use God, or their concept of God, and who God and what God is, to engage in evil, wicked acts. But then again, I'm not surprised, because their God says, I created good and I created evil. I, God, create all these things. See, they understand that. They know that. That's why they can do evil and still praise their God and still, do what it is that they're doing. Because they understand the both nature of God. While they're teaching you, particularly for black people, when you hear black people say, oh, God is good all the time. And when you tell them, no, God is not good all the time, they're like, well, why you say that? God is good all the time. But they tend to not understand and not know that in the very same Bible that they read, God said, I created evil also. Okay? Understand that, right? God, you talk about Satan, right? Who tempted Satan? Yeah, if there was no evil right before man was born, right? If there's no sin before man was born, who tempted Satan? Right? And why would God have a lying angel around him? Okay? Come on now. Y'all got to think. But anyway, I just wanted to show you this because, again, whenever they try to do these things, they shoot themselves in the foot. Like I said, it's the illegal surveillance that they do within the home, the remote node monitoring, the manipulation of my kids, the manipulation of Pam. That she doesn't even know. She doesn't. I try to at least try to make her conscious of these things, but And I just watched a short on Facebook that's this woman talk about a black woman, talk about that if you're a man and you're around a woman who is not conscious, who is lying, who is a liar, who's manipulative, right? Who don't give a damn about you except for her wants, you need to remove yourself from her. But unfortunately, I have kids, and unfortunately, I do care about her because of the fact that we have kids together. Right? And the fact that I making her become conscious of these things will benefit her also. Right? Not just the kids, but will benefit her also. Right? And her being able to not be manipulated and to understand the mindset that they want her to have is the mindset that's going to lead continue to lead to negative outcomes for her, right? Even though she may get some temporary satisfaction out of it, okay? But this is what they do. This is what they do. This is why, you see she doesn't clean up and nothing like that. Just makes a whole bunch of mess, all right? Because they understand her mindset. They understand her traumas, all right? So when I said to her, listen, you need to go get therapy, there are people telling her, oh, you don't need surgery. Or he's just talking shit. Oh, he's crazy. Really? Well, I'm the one that walks in here and sees and picks up the stuff off the floor and clean, right? And I'm the one that's exposing it. So yeah, they can call me crazy because that's what they're going to do. Because again, anybody who speak the truth, they're going to label them. We notice they label Malcolm X crazy. They label Martin Luther King crazy, right? Any conscious mind person, even white conscious people, they'll label crazy who speak the truth. Hispanic people, men and women who speak the truth, they label crazy. Asian men who speak the truth, they label crazy. In all nations, those that speak the truth against corruption, against evil, against crimes against the people, are labeled crazy. So I'm in a long line of dedicated, right, men and women who will speak the truth, right? Any TI that speak the truth, they're going to label you as such as well. So, but it comes with the territory. Right? You have to understand what it is that they do, how they do it, and you got to make a conscious effort. You got to make a conscious effort to say, you know what? It doesn't matter what they label me as. I'm going to expose it. I'm going to keep speaking the truth, and that's what I'll continue to do. Okay, like I said, this is bigger than me. All right, we all have to make some sacrifices for the next generation. And unfortunately, the vast majority of us have been programmed to not want to make any sacrifices at all. Okay? And when I say sacrifice, I don't mean giving your life. You could if you want to. That's a sacrifice. But there are other ways that you can sacrifice. Okay? And speaking the truth is one of those ways. All right? I'll talk to you guys in the next video.